Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and now that She-Hulk is complete, it's becoming increasingly clear that this series, like pretty much all of the Phase 4 MCU Disney Plus series, experienced quite a bit of in-process retooling behind the scenes.
I gotta get to the bottom of that.
Retooling this series even poked fun at with its fourth wall breaking finale. And yes, like pretty much every MCU titles, especially those in recent years, what we got from the She-Hulk series is not exactly what was planned from the outset. Alternate episode structure, alternate character designs, alternate endings, reconceived VFX shots. So as we come to the end of Phase 4, I think we need to talk about Kevin and Kevin's original plan for this game-breaking hero. Because while critics of this show and of the MCU point to this as some evidence of the studio having some flop sweat, I actually think it's a creative win to still come out of this process with something so many of us still enjoy. As someone who has written several screenplays for movies and TV shows, stuff that has never been made and probably should not get made, for me, discussing how the sausage gets made makes me appreciate the sausage even more and throw it on all my pizzas. And for us here on YouTube, I think it gives us a more calibrated expectation for future titles that are still in the oven. So what was the original plan for She-Hulk, and how and why did it change? Well, from the beginning, we knew that She-Hulk was going to be a half-hour MCU legal comedy that would break the fourth wall, consistent with the character in the comics. But because this is the MCU, it would still be an Avengers-level event. After the premiere, head writer Jessica Gao told Variety that she originally pitched to write the Black Widow movie, and her pitch had She-Hulk in it, and Marvel executive Brad Winterbaum told her, "It kind of feels like you're pitching us a She-Hulk movie with Black Widow in it." Gao said that her pitch for She-Hulk was pretty close to the version of the series that we all saw. Emil Blonsky Abomination was always in her pitch, Bruce Banner was always in her pitch. She said that her original concept skewed more heavily toward the Blonsky trial, an actual trial that spanned multiple episodes. But she said that in her writer's room, none of them were adept at writing rousing trial scenes. Her words there, and you know, now that the season is done, I gotta say, Gal definitely sold herself short there, because the courtroom debate between She-Hulk and Matt Murdock was one of the best scenes of the series. It established clear character points of view, it let both of these characters be intelligent and fierce, it laid the groundwork for Jen and Matt's romantic rivalry, it paid off MCU world building with Daredevil and the Sokovia Accords, and it thoughtfully resurrected the superhero privacy debate that was never settled after Civil War. We would have loved several episodes of this. And again, this series was always designed to break the fourth wall. The very first footage we saw of She-Hulk all the way back in November 2021 showed Jen landing in that Burbank soundstage, even though they digitally removed production equipment from the background. This teaser footage also showed her at the red carpet event that was in the penultimate episode, and it showed her and Bruce in that parody of the 1978 Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk series that opened the finale. So whatever rewrites, reshoots, or re-edits happened after November 2021, those elements were all still part of the endgame for this series. Jessica Gao told The Hollywood Reporter that she pitched at least 20 different versions of the finale, and that Kevin Feige told her that she did not have to do a big Marvel ending. He fully supported the choice to introduce Kevin as a robot. Now, Gao did say that she and Feige debated over the exact look of the Kevin robot. Gao said that she pitched an Akira meets a HAL 9000-like AI brain/robot, and that her script called for the robot to be wearing a Kevin Feige black baseball cap. Feige pushed back on that, asking, why would a robot wear a hat? And then the Viz Dev team suggested to incorporate the ball cap into the design of the robot. Marvel concept artist Jeff Simpson tweeted a number of alternate designs for Kevin, from something that looked more like an old school computer server to something more sci-fi and Matrix-y, more truly Akira, with tendrils snaking out of it in every direction. Some of the most recognizable characters in nerddom are bald. You got Nick Fury, you got Mace Windu, I guess I'm just naming Samuel L. Jackson characters. Oh well, you get the idea. Samuel L. Jackson makes being bald look cool and easy, but if your hair is falling out and you don't want it to, well, there are easier ways of dealing with it than becoming one of the most iconic actors on the planet, and Keeps has you covered. Keeps offers clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. 2 out of 3 guys will experience hair loss by the time they're 35, but with Keeps, you can get quality expert care without ever visiting a doctor's office or a pharmacy. All Keeps treatment plans are recommended by a licensed medical provider and delivered straight to your door at about half the cost of a local pharmacy. Each treatment plan comes with a full year of unlimited messaging, so you can connect with your medical provider about anything, anytime. Keeps has a network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists to support you in making your hair goals a reality. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair that you have, Keeps has you covered. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/newrockstars or click the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/newrockstars. Now, bringing in Daredevil, Gao said, was the reason result of the writers mining the comics for any Marvel character who ever got in legal trouble. They actually wanted to bring in Spider-Man. Of course they did. Every Marvel title wants to bring Spider-Man in.
Thank you, Spider-Man!
But Feige shot that down. Gal said that they always planned to introduce a new cameo as a twist at the end in typical MCU style, and said that it was Kevin Feige who decided that that would be Hulk's son, Skaar. Concept artist Konstantin Sakaris has shared several different alternate designs for Skaar, some with longer and messier hair, but it seems like they went with the design that labeled Skaar Gladiator, maybe with an intent to establish Hulk's son as another gladiator from the Skaar fighting arena. Either way, bringing Skaar in here was something that was very, very important to Kevin Feige for the future of his franchise. But the problem is, introducing Skaar and this whole subplot of Hulk having to leave Earth for Skaar involved perhaps the most complex restructuring of this series, because Jessica Gao also told Variety that originally the She-Hulk and Hulk backstory with the car crash and the training days in Mexico were originally not going to be in the pilot episode. They were actually going to be revealed in episode 8. Gao said that several factors were involved in this decision, but ultimately people wanted to know the information sooner, and it was hard for viewers to get to know the character without knowing her origin story. And she added that moving scenes with 2 Hulk characters earlier to episode 1 was a big reason behind the VFX crunch, because that meant the very first episode of the series was going to have a lot of VFX in it, and they would have less time to refine everything. The writers and director actually started to get requests from the VFX team to edit scenes in a particular way so that Jen's transformations would not have to be shown on camera. Director Kat Coiro told the Direct that this restructuring led to the episode number of the season going down, since Marvel never really forces these episodes to have a particular length. Now, the VFX side of this is really what everyone fussed over when this came up, but I think we all missed how big a deal it is that the original plan was to withhold Jen's origin story with Hulk until episode 8. That would mean everything with the Hulk, the Skaar ship causing the car crash, Hulk's off-world departure in episode 2, those were all going to be late in the season questions that paid off in the finale. So this restructuring, I believe, had 2 very challenging side effects on the series. One, it resulted in viewers becoming over-invested in the Intelligencia blood theft plot as a real threat that we should worry about, when the writers really wanted us to see it as a cliche trope that they were going to make fun of, a red herring. If the original plan was to leave that whole blood plot thread dangling after episode 7, then followed by a really cool flashback episode with Hulk and Mexico and Skaar ships, and then followed by an even cooler Daredevil episode, and then pick up with the, oh yeah, the Intelligencia in the finale, more of us probably would have felt the forced whiplash of that, and then joined Jen in her mockery of this cliche, and then cheered her on as she forced Kevin to change it. But instead, as presented, there wasn't a 10th episode, and there really wasn't enough of a buffer from the Intelligencia developments of episode 7, so that when we headed into the finale, viewers legitimately wanted to see how that blood plot would pay off. The writers might have actually underestimated how okay Marvel viewers are with comic booky tropes. But the second side of this was, of course, a completely restructured pilot episode, which is a very big deal. The pilot episode is arguably the most important, especially when you're releasing these episodes week by week. So what was the original pilot of She-Hulk then? So when you subtract the elements that Gal said were going to be in episode 8, and then merge together episodes 1 and 2, you actually get a pretty sturdy half-hour MCU legal action comedy. Jen prosecutes a case, Jen hulks out to fight Titania, she gets famous, she gets fired, she gets hired at GLK&H, she gets assigned Abomination, gets Bruce's blessing, followed by an ending tying in Abomination's cameo from Shang-Chi, which would have been a pretty mind-blowing moment for MCU fans. So really the only thing missing in all of this, some backstory that I suspect was actually dropped, the reason they really went down from 10 to 9 episodes is why the Titania crashed into Jen's courtroom. Jen was prosecuting an accidental death case against a corporation, and Titania smashed in right as she began her argument. The episode 2 news montage reports that her lawyers claim the incident was an unfortunate misunderstanding, the result of an extreme case of low blood sugar. No. Some bullshit excuse from her lawyers in tiny text on a TV screen is not actual backstory. We are clearly meant to doubt this. Titania must have had some connection to these accidental deaths, or maybe the corporation was using her to cause a mistrial. Maybe they wanted to tie Titania into the Thunderbolts, but then later on decided they didn't really want to do that after all, and there was just really no way to edit around in a way that made sense. Whatever it was, some subplot was removed. You do not introduce a character that big and completely whiff on her motivation abomination in the pilot episode. So there, I think, was the original plan for this series. Let's summarize. Jen Walters already with her She-Hulk powers as an attorney in the first episode, Bruce Banner and Emil Blonsky Abomination also in the pilot, Abomination's trial spanning several episodes, the origin story delayed to a later episode, possible Titania Thunderbolts backstory, the Intelligencia plot, a more obvious red herring, and then a finale that still jumps into the real world to confront a Kevin robot, but one with a much scarier design. So this balancing act of creative priorities is really hard, and it's just tough to know how invested viewers are going to get in certain subplots. And at the end of all this, I'm just super impressed that this series was this enjoyable. The truth is, this kind of creative restructuring happens in literally every movie and TV show. It's just that we don't notice or really care about it in other franchises. The MCU is the biggest franchise in history. It's scrutinized way more than any other title is. So we notice these changes and we assign them greater importance when we do. But hey, in fairness to us, Marvel also invites us to scrutinize with meta Easter eggs, promises of continuity, and now characters who literally talk to us. So do you think you would have liked this original She-Hulk plan better? And also, do you like me diving deeper to analyze story structure like this? I do have a background in screenwriting, so I just like celebrating how hard this task is. So I hope to do more of this kind of thing if you're into it. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Erik Voss. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.